Good morning, afternoon or evening, and welcome to another 0AD Alpha 23 replay commentary analysis. Today's match is between the current league champion, Stockfish. He'll be playing as the Britons, and his opponent is the man who was undefeated throughout the entire league campaign, which some might say would give him a moral victory, and that's Valerand. He'll be playing as the Decisive. Now, Stockfish showed during the league that he was happy to play a very aggressive playstyle, and he used rushes a lot. And sometimes that worked, and sometimes it didn't. But it's definitely become one of his trademarks, so the question now is, will he dare to use this against an opponent such as ValihrAnt? Well, why don't we find out? And the game is here, so let's have a look. Nice little start there from ValihrAnt, saving a few seconds by sending his women through the CC, so rather than walking around. Much as that most of the top players do that, it still makes me very happy to see it. I think it's a really good little trick and something that anyone can learn from. The other thing that's very important to note here is that he's gone for a standard build order. So here we've got the cavalryman, he's off collecting the chickens. We're going to get 6 women. I'm interested to see where they go, and he's sending them to Alderwood, I think. Yep. So that's interesting from his perspective, but on the other side, well, we can see here that Stockfish is going for the rush. Exactly as expected, he's gone for 6 slingers to begin with, and his soldiers will be they're going to go off and do an attack, but the key is going to be how he manages his economy back here. So what we'll do is we'll follow the attack, but we will watch his economic development with a little picture-in-picture thing. So the dog is off and away. So let's look at it from Valerand's perspective. He's seen the dog. He knows that that doesn't necessarily mean that an attack is coming. It could just be scouting, but yeah, an attack is coming, and he can now see that. So he should get this house finished. He does so. So he'll pop his women into the house, I would imagine, and get everyone else back to the civic centre to safety. He lost one of his women, but that is not the end of the world. Now the key thing with the kind of the rush attack that Stockfish is going for, which may be counterintuitive, is you're not actually trying to necessarily kill all of Valerant's population. The most important thing that you want to do is actually stop him from collecting resources. As you can see, taking out this storehouse means that he's limited to these trees just here, which is very sensible. So what Valerand will need to do is to keep, exactly, he can put people through the civic centre and back out the other side. So in order to keep collecting resources, he's going to have to basically collect resources around there, wait for Stockfish to pull his soldiers all the way around, and then go and bring them back into the civic centre. He's lost another woman there, and he's not looking too bad on food. He can still produce a couple more women if he wants to, and he's just got some wood. I think he's probably because he's going to try and get another cavalryman. Now the best way that he's got around this is going to be to try and have some kind of counter rush. He's got to be careful he doesn't lose this house, but it doesn't look like he's going to, so that's all right. Stockfish, very clever. He's got that guy as well. He's done really well with using his cavalryman to scout around the other side to make sure that there's nothing there. He's not managing to escape with his soldiers. I mean, and just to sort of note, if you've been watching the picture-in-picture, Stockfish has been pretty good at microing not just his attack but also his defence. He's produced a couple of houses and continues to produce them, and he's kept himself from getting pop-capped, while at the same time stopping Valerand from collecting a decent number of resources. So there will come a point where it's kind of, he has to really put an end to this. Valerand survived and is still just about collecting resources, but as these ones around the civic centre disappear, you have to be willing to actually launch some kind of counter attack, which is what he's doing now. So we'll follow that, and we'll just see how this attack goes, it's going to be very, very difficult. He's lost one of his cavalrymen, you know, and the thing that Stockfish has in advantage is plenty of resources, so he's able to supplement. As you can see, he's got some spearmen coming over the horizon here, so they will. Oh, if he can just take, he could take out the 2 spearmen. If he gets the spearmen, then he's in a much stronger position. But I don't think he's going to be able to. Or is he? One of them, maybe. This guy. No, it looks like they're both surviving. Oh, he's doing the whole age up. Not age up, sorry. The most frustrating thing when they rank, when they get a promotion and then they celebrate it while being killed, as they can't then attack while being. That's a real bug in the game that needs to be fixed, I think, because it's incredibly frustrating. So he managed to alleviate some of the pressure, and in doing so has got some wood and some food. But what he's not managed to do, he needs to try and draw people inside the civic centre and then hope that the arrows get them. But Stockfish is very, very careful to make sure he doesn't go inside that. This house has no one in, so this is probably going to be taken over, and in doing so it will reduce Valerand's ability to repopulate as well. I mean, that's one of the other things that you're looking for is if you can stop him building his economy, that's great. If you can stop him building his population, that will by default stop him building his economy. So yeah, it's very like the fact that he can now, if we have a quick look from his perspective, we should see, I think, that Valerand is housed. He is indeed. He's got 21 population, only 20. Okay. He wouldn't have wanted to become unhoused by virtue of watching his troops get killed, though. He would have preferred that to be due to getting a house. So he's now on under half of the population that Stockfish has, and Stockfish continues to destroy his buildings. So it's been an excellent opening from Stockfish's perspective. I mean, the hope that Valerand has now is that he will be able to build up a decent supply of food. It's much more difficult to stop farming when it's so close to the civic centre. Having said that, the slingers would be able to hit the farms from a distance, so he could destroy the farms if he wanted. I've not ever seen anyone do that, but it's a possibility. And yeah, he's now moving towards 3 times the population. Valerand, understandably, is finding it quite difficult, and he's very short of wood and food, so he needs to get some stuff together. But the fact that he's survived this is testament to his skills. We've got Stockfish now is going to build a barracks, and in doing so we'll be able to turbocharge his population development. He was lucky enough to get extra berries over here which are supplementing his farming, so 2 sets of berries. He's actually got another set over there. He doesn't know about those yet, but it would be interesting. So, Valerand, here he comes. He's going to have a quick look and see what things are looking like. And yeah, so he's noticed those berries now, so it could be that should Stockfish go to those later, Valerand is aware that that's a place where he could have some undefended women. Oh, and Stockfish is bringing his remaining soldiers back. And yeah, I think you'd have to well, I have to conclude from there that he's done a fairly decent job. Oh, Valerand's just trying to take out 1 or 2 additional soldiers, and we'll be able to do that probably. This guy has gone up to advanced rank, and but he has plenty of health, so in doing so he has not died, fortunately. He's going to look like take out this guy as well, and he does. So in terms of the kills, that brings Valerand up to just over half the kills, but he's got just under half the population. So he continues to try and cause some difficulty. This is the guy that he needs to focus on. He has to get him before the spearman, and he does, before the spearman gets close to him. If the spearman got close to the cavalryman, he would just kill him. So pretty decent little raid from this guy. He's down to 7 health. If you can get him back healed up, then that was probably worth it. So 5 more slingers coming there, 5 more from there. I mean, Britons are such a dangerous faction, because of the fact that they have these slingers so early on. You can win in phase 1, which is pretty much impossible for places that don't have slingers available. That means it's also available, I think, only to Athenians, the other faction that would have that opportunity. But back to the game, the thing now that we can see is that that attack, killing off those raiding soldiers one by one, which was some nice little kind of assassination going on from this guy, has bought him some time, so he can now develop. He's just going to be looking to produce as many population, as much of a population he can, as quickly as possible. He needs to get, he's got 20 people, 20 women collecting wood in a desperate attempt to get the houses and the food production, which will come from the fields, ready, that he can then actually really make a concerted effort. Because the longer the game goes on, the better the chance of Valorant winning it. So if he can develop more quickly now than Stockfish, which is going to be difficult because Stockfish does have one of the kind of beginner civs, I suppose you could call them, those that develop quickly, that don't have hugely complex troops that need a lot of specialist knowledge. He's just, there. You basically just get loads of slingers, some spears and some rams, and throw them at the enemy, and that should be sufficient to win a game if you're in a numerical advantage. And that's exactly the position that he finds himself in. So he is producing plenty of barracks. Now I find this actually quite not puzzling, but I find it's, to me, a bit counterintuitive, but it's I suppose it does allow you to produce your population more quickly. But he's just producing one person at a time, but from lots of barracks. Now I know that it's quick to do that, quicker to do that than it is to do them from one building, but each of these costs 300 wood. Let's just check that, I'm pretty sure that's correct. Yeah, it does. So they're useful in terms of, this one for instance has allowed him to bring this wood line right into view, and this one allowed him again over here. He was able to bring another wood line which he wouldn't have been able to reach otherwise in them. But that's six spearmen right there, and there's another 6 right there. So I suppose you'll need them later on in the game, but in this game I wouldn't have anticipated that he would be, this should be over by sort of phase 2. He could, in effect, I suppose in a very long-winded way trying to get at, is that those 2 barracks provide the wood that would have got him to phase 2. So he could maybe have produced 1 fewer, got everything to phase 2, got access to some new types of soldiers, some new cavalry, and then launched a real assault. But what it looks like he's doing is, again, barracks here, just so is to try and bring these trees into play. But it looks like he's going to attempt his attack, just to finish my previous thought. Actually, in phase 1, he doesn't really. He's got still double the population, but it doesn't look like he is exactly desperately collecting resources to go to phase 2. He is just building population and building population and building population. So could do with getting if you got the farming upgrade, he wouldn't need to have so many. That would be 9 fields. Wow. The max pop is 300, but I don't think it's going to get to the stage where he needs that. But As I said, the longer it goes on, the greater the opportunity for Valerand, who is now getting himself up to the standard kind of 8 fields. That should certainly be sufficient for his immediate needs, when you consider that he's also got this hunting going on. And speaking of the hunting, this farmstead's a really nice addition. That means that all of these deer that are around here that he's been hunting, they're all the delivery time is really, really low on those, which is fantastic. So he's able to get that food that much more quickly. Hunting is far and away the quickest form of hunting. It's far away the quickest form of gathering food. And I do actually have a video on that about food gathering. So if you want to go and watch that, then enjoy. It's a lot of fun. So everything's kind of calmed down a bit now. But we've got him producing one at a time from God knows how many barracks. Is that another barracks? So he's moving for a 5th barracks. And that will help him to pull another wood line into within range. He's gathering plenty of stone, getting plenty of stone and a little bit of metal. He's not hugely focused on that, but that's probably just for upgrades. Having said that, he only has the one upgrade. He's got the wood cutting upgrade, but he hasn't got any others, which is interesting, really interesting. He's got plenty of food. Oh, here comes an attack. Let's look at this from Valerand's perspective. He doesn't know a lot about what's going on here. So in come the cavalry in an attempt to take out some of Stockfish's soldiers, but he was trying to take out his women, but actually it turned out there were far too many soldiers close by, and of his 8 starting cavalry he's down to 4, so that didn't go so well. And more ominously, sorry for chuckling there, but he's now bringing forth Stockfish has taken an affront to that, so despite still being at phase 1, he is basically throwing everyone now at Valerand. Is Valerand aware of this? He's not, but he is now, and straight away he's trying to take some of them out, but my God, that is that's quite the attack. This is going to be very, very difficult to defend. If Valerand wasn't aware, he's got 3 people there, but that's going to go down in no time. If he wasn't aware of the scale of the attack immediately, he certainly is now. You could just see there are slingers actually flooding at him. So he's got nearly 100 troops, which means that he's actually still got roughly the same amount of troops that Valerand has in total. Stockfish has that number still in his base, despite the fact that he is launching one hell of an attack here. So down goes another tower. And down goes one of his barracks. He had 2, these guys out here are continuing to collect wood, and he's trying to farm around the back just to give himself something. But he's lost a few soldiers, but barely any. You can see Stockfish, his kills are on 48 while his losses are on 23. Somehow Valerand continues to perfectly maintain this ratio of around half in basically everything. So half the population, half the kills. These women are... it's certainly he's managed to deposit some of that wood first, because they've got 65, and presumably these dead ones would also have had some. He can't get them any further. These houses are full. The other barracks is gone, and so we have a counter-attack. This is his only real possibility of success now, is to attempt and to try and win in this way. So Stockfish The thing is, Stockfish isn't exactly short of soldiers back here. As long as he manages them relatively well, he is grouping them up nicely. He's got plenty there that will be more than sufficient. He's starting to bring his soldiers back, but actually notices that Valerand is coming back, and so with the fact that Valerand is doing that, he now instead launches an assault on his civic centre. So here, yeah, we'll watch this battle while he destroys the CC, see if he can take out some of these. They're not actually getting that involved in the fight. And Stockfish has got cavalry of his own, like he's literally calling in the cavalry. Got plenty coming, so he's given up on that. This civic centre, what's it down to? So it's health-wise, it's not looking too good. The Valley's trying to get some people to to repair it, but Stockfish is doing a good job of killing off the people that are doing the repairs. So these guys just, well, they're a little bit lost. There's not a lot they can do. There's not really a lot. Anything can be done in this game. Was won very, very early on with a well-managed slinger rush. He took out. He's got 3 more, but coming in 10, 11 seconds. But they will be lost to the sands of time, and indeed they are. And that is purely that. There's no resources from Valorant to build another civic centre. He's not going to be able to capture any of them. So no doubt we'll see a resignation very shortly. I was hoping it would line up nicely with that. See a resignation very shortly. Okay. Oh, and now he does it. So that was unfortunate. I was really hoping to get that to be, as soon as I had said shortly, he would resign, but it wasn't to be. But nonetheless, a really, really good game, and good revenge for Stockfish. You can see from the stats, absolutely annihilated him. All of the metrics on the first screen, absolutely fantastic. In terms of resources, he collected so much more wood, food, lots of stone, a little bit of metal. If we look at the kill death ratio again, Stockfish absolutely superb, whereas Valerand really struggled. Stockfish had a tiny percentage of his soldiers made up of his population made up of women, whereas Valerand was very, very high. He couldn't get the soldiers together. And if we look at the scores here, you can see, well, it's, yeah, in terms of military, Stockfish was constantly ahead. In terms of economy, he was constantly well ahead. There was no real point at which Valerand was even close, to be honest. So, muito obrigado, like, subscribe, all those sorts of things, and adeus.